Welcome back to another episode of the DFS Express presented by Loudmouth MMA and MMAtoday.com. I am your host, the Daily Fantasy Sniper, here to talk UFC 221 from Perth, Australia. The main event is Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero for another interim middleweight championship. Here in the Express, we are going to go through every fight on this card, DraftKings specific fights, and at the end, we will do a GPP, so tournament lineup build that I will enter into the $4 sprawl on DraftKings. If this is your first time watching or listening to the Scramble, first of all, thank you. Please give me a follow on Twitter at the DFS Sniper. Subscribe to my YouTube page if you're watching this episode on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network. 5-star review on iTunes. Subscribe there. Subscribe to the YouTube page. And all that support is greatly appreciated. Try and get these episodes done in 10 minutes, so let's jump right into the fights. Luke Rockhold, 8,300. Yoel Romero, 7,900. Yoel Romero has become a very trendy underdog pick. I'm not there. I'm taking Luke Rockhold at 8,300. Romero, he knows he doesn't have a good gas tank, and he has slowed down the pace in his fights. He looks like he's not doing anything, and then he explodes. Did that against Chris Weidman. I don't think Rockhold's going to let that pace happen here. I think Rockhold's going to use his kickboxing, push the action, tire Romero out, and hopefully get him out of there in the late rounds. If Rockhold ends up on top, mostly because Romero gasses. I know Romero's a crazy good wrestler, and if the pace of this fight doesn't go the way I think it will, Romero is the stronger fighter, more knockout power, and the better wrestler, so Rockhold could be in trouble. But I think the pace that Rockhold's going to push will be too much for Romero. Gets a late stoppage. I think in 4th or 5th round TKO for Luke Rockhold. I think he's the better play at 8,300, especially because I think Romero's become very trendy on DraftKings. Curtis Blades, 8,400. Mark Hunt, 7,800. This, to me, is going to be a toned down, less important version of Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. Striker versus grappler. I think Blades is able to grapple Hunt. Hunt is just looking for that one-shot power. Blades is in there, has been in there against Ngannou. Suffered a TKO, but that was a doctor stoppage, didn't get knocked out. I think he's able to use his wrestling against Hunt. 8,400, I think, is a fair price for Curtis Blades, and he's my preferred play. Tai Tuivasa, 9,300. Cyril Asker, 6,900. Oh, this is rough because Cyril Asker is bad, really bad. Tai Tuivasa, though, is one-dimensional, and you don't know what happens if he gets to a second round, or if Cyril Asker, the only way he's won fights in the UFC, has been getting his opponent to the ground. I think Tuivasa wins the fight. I think that happens more times than not. I don't think I can pay 9,300 for him, a guy I'm hoping for 107, 8 points with a first-round knockout. I think Asker's got more tournament upside at 6,900. He should be really under-owned. I think Tuivasa will be popular. It's a GPP dart. Don't invest a lot of money in him. Tuivasa is my pick to win the fight straight up, but I think because of the pricing, I'll take Cyril Asker as my preferred play at 6,900, and that really hurts me to say. Lee the Leech, Jing Liang, 8,800. Jake Matthews, 7,400. I've seen a couple people on Matthews. I can't get there. The Leech should have been given a higher quality opponent than Jake Matthews, who's only 23. People need to pump the brakes on him. I know he didn't look good against Bohan Velichkovich last time out. Just Matthews is not going to be able to get this fight to the ground. Li Jinglong hits way too hard. I think he puts away Matthews. Matthews is only 23. I think it was like 5-3 in the UFC with losses to Kevin Lee and just giving my mind right now, but somebody else really legit. Kind of only one questionable loss on the resume. He needs to stop training out of his dad's garage, get into a real gym. He's 23. I think he'll be fine. But Li Jinglong, I think, really puts a hurting on him here. 8,800. I think he's a strong play in all formats. Tyson Pedro, 9,100. Saparbeg Safarov, 7,100. This is a little similar to the Cyril Asker Tai Tuivasa fight, but I'm going to stay with Pedro at 9,100. Safarov got beat up by Jean Vellante. Pedro's got a decent ground game. Safarov is just wild. He has a puncher's chance, and he showed he has a decent chin and can land a big shot. He's 205, or he swings heavy, just not technical. I don't think he's very good. Pedro isn't He should be ranked number 13 in the division, but he's better than Safarov. I'll take him at 9,100. Dong Hyun Kim at 8,500, Damian Brown 7,700. This is a fight I've been back and forth on all week. I'll probably be back and forth a few more times. Both guys have been in crazy wars. Right now, I'm going to go with Damian Brown for the price savings at 7,700. I'm wondering about the takedown defense of Damian Brown. Dong Hyun Kim showed he can get some against Brendan O'Reilly. Showed he can be less wild than he has previously against Takanori Gomi. There was Takanori Gomi. Brown has been in some firefights. He showed he can handle them. Dong Hyun Kim, I think he gets wild when things get intense in there. Just Brown has to be able to stop the takedowns. I think he can. 7,700, he is my preferred play right now, but this is one that I'm going to keep doing research on. Please follow me on Twitter. I'm sure I'll be posting more about this fight, but right now Damian Brown is my preferred play at 7,700. Israel Adesanya, 9,200. Rob Wilkinson, 7,000. Adesanya is going to be super popular, glory kickboxer, just awkward movement, hits really hard, puts guys away. Rob Wilkinson, I like, is a tough spot for him. I actually picked him against CR Bahadurzada to pull an upset. Came up short there. Bahadurzada looked good. Wilkinson's got a heavy top game. The one thing that worries me about Adesanya is similar to a few times we've mentioned. I don't know what's going to happen if he gets taken down. We haven't seen it. He's a glory kickboxer coming into MMA, could be controlled on the ground, and that's where Wilkinson excels. But I don't think Wilkinson's able to close the distance against Adesanya without getting teed off on. So I'm taking Adesanya at 9,200. I'm interested to see how popular he's going to be. I might steer away from him in tournaments and play him in cash, where he really can't hurt you if he's as chalky as I think he's going to be. So Adesanya is the preferred play at 9,200. Alexander Volkanovski, 8,900. Jeremy Kennedy, 7,300. Both guys are grapplers. Volkanovski uses his strength. He's probably better suited for 135. Kennedy's got a long reach here. Kennedy's clearly in play with the grappling at 7,300. I'm starting to talk myself off of it, though, from where I was earlier in the week, because he's just not active. He's going to look to lay on guys. He's a point fighter on the feet. Volkanovski looks to land ground and pound. He's active on the feet. When he throws big, heavy shots. I just like the aggression there. And I don't like taking kind of that awkward point fighter where, again, two grapplers could cancel each other out. Volkanovski's my preferred play at 8,900. I'm not sure how much of this fight I'm going to have overall because it could be two grapplers who end up in a low-scoring stand-up fight. But Volkanovski's the preferred play. Ben Ten Nguyen, 8,100. Jussier Formiga, 8,100. That pick'em fight, I like Jussier Formiga quite a bit here. He is, in my opinion, really underrated. Ben 10 has looked okay, but he got controlled on the ground against Smolka. Formiga looks to blanket guys, lay on them. So while I like Formiga in the matchup, I think he's able to hold down Ben 10 and get a win. I'm a little worried about the DraftKings scoring here. 8,100 is a fair price. Obviously, it's right in the mid-range. Formiga's my preferred play because I think he wins the fight. I won't go heavy on him because I think it could, even though it could be grappling based, he might not score a ton, but I'll definitely have shares of him at 8,100. Ross Pearson, 8,600. Mizuto Hirota, 7,600 is a fight I'm almost sure I'm going to stay away from. I think Ross Pearson wins. I don't think either of these guys are that great, but Hirota's coming up from 145 to 155. Whatever grappling advantage he has, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get Pearson down. Pearson, I know he's on a losing streak, is against higher quality guys than this. I think Pearson wins, but a typical Pearson fight, he doesn't score very high. So neither guy's my preferred play. If you're making me pick one, I'll take Pearson because I think he wins the fight. Jose Quinones, 8,700. Teruto Ishihara, 7,500. I'm going to take Ishihara here. Everyone's down on him, so I think it's an interesting leverage spot in tournaments. Everyone seems to be picking Quinones, assuming that Ishihara's going to get taken down like Gray Maynard took him down 11 times. A few things. Jose Quinones, while he has grappling, he's a well-rounded fighter. He's not Gray Maynard in terms of wrestling. I don't think he's going to be able to close the distance and not get hit by Ishihara. Also, this fight is at 135. Ishihara hasn't fought at 135 in, I believe, 4 years. He should be the bigger guy here, helping him with the takedown defense against Quinones. Ishihara hits hard. I think he's able to stop the takedown. And because I think so many people are going to be off of him because he has looked bad in some previous fights, I think he's a really interesting GPP leverage play at 7,500. First fight of the night, last fight of this breakdown, Daichi Abe 8,200, Luke Jimao 8,000. Jimao's not any good. I don't think he's good. I picked against him against Shinsho Anzai. I picked against him against Dom Steele. He did win that fight. He looked good. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. Abe could get a takedown because I don't think Jimao can really stop them. I know he had a good night against Dom Steele. Just from the tape I've seen, I don't think he's very good. Abe is more technical on the feet. I think he's a little better in the grappling. I think he's just a little better everywhere. So he's definitely my preferred play at 8,200. Now jumping over to DraftKings, you're going to build a lineup for the $4 sprawl. This is a big, big tournament. You want your lineup to be a little bit different. Probably not spend all your money, and obviously looking for as many points as possible, willing to take reward with some risk. So first thing I'm going to do is, even though it's the main event, I'm going to put in Luke Rockhold. I think Romero will be the more popular of the two, and I think Rockhold, some extra rounds to work with that pace, should score pretty well. This might be a week where I'm going to sort by salary real quick. I might want to stick to the mid-tier. I think Adesanya will be popular, Vasa. So I think I might actually stick towards the mid-range. I do like Li Jingliang to get a quick finish over Jake Matthews, or at least get a finish. So I'm going to put him in for now. There are a lot of ways to go this week. I'm going to think about playing Curtis Blades. I think he's going to be relatively popular. Again, I'm really focusing on wanting to be different this week. That's where Ishihara is going to come in. Get a salary saver there. You know what? I'm going to come all the way down, and I'm going to put in Cyril Asker. I think he's a good tournament play for the reasons I mentioned in the breakdown. Tuivasa is going to be popular. Even though I think Tuivasa wins the fight, I'm going to get a lot of leverage here on Asker and a lot of price savings in a heavyweight fight. And that allows me to pretty much pay up for anybody I want. I don't think I'm going to use all the salary again because I want my lineup to be as different as possible. I will take Tyson Pedro at 9,100. Again, 205 pounds. I think in that range, by the way, Pedro won't be that popular compared to, we've got Volkanovski below him and Adesanya above him. I think Pedro in that range might go a little underowned, so I think he's a good tournament play. And how much salary do I want to leave on the table? You know, I can get Curtis Blades in here at 8,400. I'm leaving 1,000 salary out there. That's not a bad thing on DraftKings. I know I went way over my usual 10 minutes this week, but something we haven't done is leave money on the table. Something I want to try this week. I'm going to enter this lineup into the sprawl. It's Luke Rockhold 8,300, Li Jingliang 8,800, Teruto Ishihara 7,500, Cyril Asker 6,900, Tyson Pedro 9,100, Curtis Blades 8,400. If you wanted to pivot off this lineup, you're not comfortable leaving that much money on the table, I would definitely take out Cyril Asker, and then you can, a lot of ways you can go. You could stack the main event for a cash game with Romero. You could put in Damian Brown, who I mentioned earlier. That's probably the two best places I would go to pivot off this lineup. So that's all I got for you this week. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. Good luck in your contest. I will see you next week.